Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my November wrap up. Now, November didn't have a ton of books, but I had a lot of romance books, mostly hockey, of course. Mostly because I was doing a hockey vlog, and so I think 3 of the 6 of these are Vancouver Wolves hockey romances, and I'm excited to get into them with you. So the first one that I finished in November was Home Game, which is book 2 of the Vancouver Wolves. These are by Odette Stone. This is the one that I had read before, but I hadn't read the other 3 in the companion series. So this one was a total reread for me, and it held up on reread, like absolutely held up on reread. I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun to go back through it. So in this one, we are following Zoe and Ryan, and they meet at a coffee shop where Ryan is attempting to do his own taxes, or well, at least like organize his taxes so his accountant could do them. Well, he is absolutely incompetent when it comes to anything with the computer. So he like minimizes out of his screen on accident and can't figure it out, and she has to help him, right? Well, she ends up missing her like time to leave, and so we find out that she lives in a homeless shelter. Well, she ended up being late getting back to the homeless shelter, so they wouldn't take her. Well, Ryan, being a nice guy, offers her to stay at his place for that night. And they both made it very clear, like, this is just a one night thing. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to be together. Like, nothing is going to happen. And nothing does. And she ends up going about her way and he goes about his, but he did give her his card. So when Zoe gets beat up in the streets and goes to the doctor and she's unconscious, so the doctors have no idea who she is, they call Ryan because they find his card. Ryan comes down there and he identifies her, and he ends up taking her home with him. And they start becoming friends, and he is determined to help her get back on her feet. I love this story so much. Like, their interactions are fantastic. Like, she is so spunky and feisty and very independent. Like, she absolutely refuses to even give the appearance that she is using him. Like, she is not going to use him. She's keeping a list of all the things that he's doing for her so that she can pay him back when she gets on her feet. And he is trying to hold himself to his word of, I'm not going to make a move on you. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to be a nice guy. And so they kind of go back and forth a little bit. There's a little bit of miscommunication with that because they hook up a little bit or they have like a moment, and then he pulls back because he's trying not to cross that line. And it was just so much fun. I mean, the miscommunication was a little bit annoying, but it wasn't too bad. And it wasn't even like, I'm just not going to talk to you for weeks or whatever. I'm going to hide this thing from you. It's just they were assuming things based on behavior. Like, one of them would do something and they would create a narrative in their head that explained that behavior. And it was usually like, oh, they hate me, or, something like that. But it didn't last very long. And I highly, highly recommend the second book. Actually, I highly recommend the last 3. I didn't much care for the first one, Fuck Me Secretly, but these other 3 were fantastic. The second book that I finished in November was My Sister's Keeper. This one is by Jodi Picoult. This one we are following Kate and her family, and we're particularly following Anna. And Anna is the little sister. Kate is the middle child, and Kate has cancer. And Anna was created in a lab, basically. I think that's the best way to say it. Anna was created in the lab in order to be a donor match for her sister. So, like, her whole purpose is to be a donor for her sister so that they can try and keep Kate around as long as possible. Because she has leukemia, and due to the type of leukemia that she has, she needs very specific donors, and not anyone can be a donor. Like, they've checked the family, and no one in the family is a donor. Like, they can't help her. So, in comes Anna. Well, Anna decides that she no longer wants to be a donor, so she hires herself a lawyer at 13. She's 13. and they file for medical emancipation from her parents. This will allow Anna to have more say in her body and in any medical treatments that she wants to undergo or not undergo. She is allowed to be, she's allowed to have her own say and not be forced to donate to her sister. This book explores the hard topics of what do you do when your child is dying? Like, what lengths do you go to when your child is dying? And how do you respond as a sibling when that was your whole purpose? Like, you were born to be a donor. You weren't born because they loved you and they just wanted an extra child. You were born to save somebody else. Like, that's your whole purpose. And Jodi Picoult does a really nice job of exploring all of those sides of that and understanding where people would come from and how they would end up coming to these decisions. And she does such a great job. But this book was a reread for me, and it did not hold up on reread this time. I think I've reread it before and it was fine, but I don't know if I've just changed or my expectations were a little bit different going into this one, but it just wasn't the same. Like, I'm not even entirely sure what it was. I just didn't like it as much. Like, I don't know that I connected to it as much as I did before. Could be that I'm older and I don't have kids, so like I don't connect to the mom as much. Like on that super deep level, I don't really connect. And I think part of it was that I didn't connect with Anna as much as I had before. And I think part of that's where I'm a little bit older, and so she's very inconsistent with her decisions, which, I mean, she's 13. And I think that pulled me out of that connection with her. It's because she's so back and forth and wishy-washy on everything. And, and I just remember her being so much firmer in her decisions and being more sure of herself. And that just wasn't the case. And I really think that maybe my expectations were just too high going in, and that may be why it didn't hold up on reread. This next book is the first Alice Feeney book that did not get me. And the only reason she didn't get me with her twist at the end is because I was very intentional with not guessing. I tried so hard not to guess in this book, and it worked out because she definitely would have got me if I had attempted to guess. This is His and Hers. We're following this woman, Anna. Ironically, I know I read 2 books with the main character named Anna. But so we're following Anna, who is a news reporter, and there was a murder that she's investigating as a journalist. Well, she knew the lady. She went to school with her and had history with her and all these things. Well, then we also have the added story of we're following this guy, Jack, and Jack is a police officer, and he is also investigating this murder. And he knew the lady as well. Like, he knew her from high school, and he was also, like, knew her, if you know what I'm saying. And also, Jack and Anna were married at one point and are no longer married. So we also have these other murders that are happening of people that they both know and have interacted with. And everything is so twisty. You have no idea who to trust. You are trying to figure out who's murdering who. All the clues are leading everywhere. Like, everywhere. Everyone's a suspect. And Alice Feeney did a great job with her twist. Absolutely great job with her twist. And I love her twist because you can totally see the endings. I hate when someone pulls a twist out of a nowhere and you're like, there were no breadcrumbs for that. Alice Feeney does a really good job of having the breadcrumbs that help you actually see how we got to that ending. And she has great endings. Love her stories. So this one was not my favorite of hers, but definitely pretty good. I definitely like it more than Rock, Paper, Scissors. That one's probably the one I like the least of hers. These next 2 are the 3rd and 4th book of the Vancouver Wolves romance companion novel series. That has a long title. The first one that I'm going to talk about, it's the 3rd in the series, is The Penalty Box. And in this one, we are following Micah and Charlie. Micah is a hockey player who is associated with some gang members, which ends up getting him into trouble with the law and with his team. So he gets suspended for 6 games. Well, they decide that in order to fix his image, he's going to get married. In comes Charlie. Charlie is Krista's assistant. Krista is Micah's sports agent. So they're going to use Charlie to marry Micah in order to help his image so that he doesn't seem like such a risk to the hockey program. There's a word for that. Yeah, hockey team. I don't know. I think there's a word I'm looking for there, but I can't think of it. But anyways, so they're gonna get married, and it's fake dating. It is total fake dating, and I love fake dating. Fake dating is probably my favorite romance trope. Love fake dating, even if it's just for like a minute. I love fake dating. So this one was great. I loved Micah and Charlie's interactions. She's real feisty with him because she's had a crush on him. And she's been trying to like mask the fact that she's had a crush on him forever. And so like it's just so funny the way that they interact. Well, Charlie also is associated with some gang members because of her brother and some debt that he was in with them. And so now it's kind of carried over to her. And she's having to pay a lot of money to these dudes and like never getting out of this debt, right? Well, they end up taking care of that, but she is still being harassed. Like, Micah will go on the road for hockey and her home will be just like targeted. People will come at like 3 in the morning and just like knock on the door, ring the doorbell, whatever, keep her up at night. They will leave scarecrows like in the backyard, like no idea who is doing this or why, because they thought that they had taken care of like the people on her end, but we have no idea what's happening. So that's the big like dramatic piece of the storyline for this novel is trying to figure out what is happening here. Like, why are we being attacked? Why are we being harassed? And those kinds of things. And this one was fun. I think this one is probably, if I had to rank them, this one would be ranked third of the books. But I think the fourth one would be my number one. I loved the fourth one, and I'll get to that in just a second. So my only issue with Penalty Box is that Micah would shut down and then like walk away and like leave. Like he would completely leave and not come back for hours and hours. And you're like, what is happening? Granted, he did have something very, very traumatic happen to him when he was a kid. And I mean very traumatic. But anytime anything was brought up that was even remotely related, he would shut down and leave and just leave Charlie hanging. Like, like this dude. Okay, so his mom comes to town, right? And his mom's a little bit of a pill. And his mom brings up the traumatic thing. He leaves. So he left his brand new wife with his mom by herself. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's awkward enough. Like, you know that Charlie doesn't know your mother. Like, does not know your mother. And she is your fake wife, so she's having to like put on that charade. I don't know. You fill in the blank there. And you're just gonna leave for hours and hours and not come back. Like that's just messed up. Like you're supposed to like help smooth that transition, and you just bailed. And so that was super annoying. And he would do that quite a bit. Super annoying. But High Risk Rookie was the best. Oh, I loved it so much. This one, we're following Krista, who is a sports agent. She goes down to Mexico to meet Levi and to get Levi to sign with her and come play hockey for the Vancouver Wolves in order to play hockey for them, right? Well, she goes down there, she meets him, and they accidentally get drugged. And these are like some hard drugs. So they end up getting married. Like they've known each other 4 hours and they got married, right? Well, because she's trying to sign him as a client, like that's a no-no. So they're trying to divorce secretly. So he comes up to Vancouver and is trying out for the team, and he's being harassed by some teammates and just having a really hard time with gelling with the team. And we also have the added thing of his agent, like his actual agent, doesn't want to let him go. So they're having to deal with that. And they're having to deal with Krista's family. And Krista has an ex who is horrible. And so they're dealing with those dynamics because he's still in the picture because he's getting ready to marry her little sister and be family and all these things. And so we're having to deal with those tough family dynamics. And Krista's mom is just terrible. Like, they just hate Krista. And Krista gets blamed for everything. And so we're dealing with all of that. So we get a touch of fake dating, and we get a touch of that whole will they, won't they, because they want to be together, but they can't be together. And will this secret come out? And it's just so much fun. So much fun. And I love Levi. Like, he's all like big and masculine, and you can just like feel the masculine energy. And it's awesome. I just love it so much. Had the best time. And I will die on the hill that Krista's parents are the real villains of this story. I mean, they're not technically the real villains of the story, but to me, they are the real villains of this story. They were trash. Like, trash, trash. And then the last one that I finished in November is The Women by Kristin Hannah. This was the first Kristin Hannah book that I read. This one is following Frankie as she goes to Vietnam to be a nurse. And we follow her story, learning how to be a nurse in Vietnam and dealing with all the trauma, like on the ground, in like the day in, day out kind of trauma. And then we also follow her dealing with the aftermath of coming home and how everyone was treating people in the Vietnam. I mean, not only did they just treat the soldiers terribly, but like the nurses were completely ignored. Like, completely ignored. Like, every time she turned around, people were like, there were no women in Vietnam. Like, what are you talking about? And like, she would even go to like the VA and they'd be like, there were no women in Nam. Like, we can't help you because you weren't a combat soldier. Like, what do you mean? Like, completely ignored. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I liked it well enough, but I just wanted more. Like, Kristin Hannah is well known for pulling out like all of these emotional things in somebody when they read her stories. And I just didn't get there, and I wanted to get there. Like, that's the reason why I read Kristin Hannah, or I'm going to read Kristin Hannah, is because the fact that she's supposed to like be emotional, and I wanted to be emotional. I know I'm a weirdo. I like books that make me sad, okay? But I just didn't get there, and I don't entirely know why. And I think maybe I just didn't connect with Frankie once we came home. I really liked Frankie when she was being a nurse and dealing with combat and dealing with like the day in and day out of all the trauma and stuff. Loved it. That was great. I didn't jive with her as much when she came home, and I think that may have been part of the problem. Like, she really started to annoy me towards the end. And I also think that it really hurt that I hated all of the romances, and there were several. And I just felt like we kept making the same mistakes over and over again when it came to romances, and we just weren't learning. And it was super annoying because, I mean, I get it. Like, you're going to love who you love, and you're going to fall for the lines. Okay, we've all been there. We fell for the lines. I mean, if you didn't fall for the lines, you're probably lying. Okay, like, we all have been there. But to continue to fall for it, like, that's annoying. Like, we've got to learn, and we've got to move past that. Like, and I don't know, I may just be old and tough, I don't know. But that was super annoying. Like, I can deal with her dealing with the trauma stuff and the PTSD symptoms. Like, I could deal with that. Keep dealing with that. Keep having issues and struggles and slowly learning. That's normal. That's fine. It's the relationship stuff that bothered me. So I think that just kind of ruined it for me. Those are all the things that I read in November. Have you read any of these? What was your favorite book in November? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.